Ah, ending credits. The part of the movie where most people just get up and leave and the Marvel fans wait for Samuel Jackson to show up.
This is a tasty burger.
End credits are usually just text either scrolling or fading in and out of the screen. They serve one and only one purpose, that being to credit the people who worked on the movie. However, the end credits aren't always this simple. Sometimes they are used in a more creative way to either add some deeper meaning to the movie or as a creative outlet where the people working on them can expand the scope of the project which they have worked on. While this is true, it is also true that this phenomena happens very, very rarely and is more prevalent in more, how should I say this, pretentious works of art? I mean, don't misunderstand me, anyone can do whatever they want with their end credits. I'm just stating that the people who decide to make them more experimental, for lack of a better word, tend to be the people who also make their media have a lot of layers in how they are interpreted. I mean, take a movie like The End of Evangelion, for example. The movie itself serves as a second ending to the original series which came before. Plus, the movie does a lot of, let's just say, confusing stuff. While I did come out of the movie appreciating both it and the staff that worked on it, I cannot deny that it took me multiple rewatches to fully grasp the meaning behind it. Now, while I will be talking about 3 different pieces of media which do this unique thing with their end credits, I want to mention that I won't really be spoiling anything, but I still feel I should put up a spoiler warning just in case. So, spoiler warning for these 3.
We're the 3 best friends that anyone could have. We're the 3 best friends that anyone can have. And we'll never, ever, 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 ever...
The Hangover is a classic in the comedy movie genre. Dare I say, a pillar which would shape the raunchy comedy movie sphere for quite a while after its release. Now, if you don't already know, The Hangover follows 4 friends...
You're such a fucking moron! Your language is offensive! Fuck you!
...going to Vegas for Doug's bachelor party. After they arrive in Vegas, drinking ensues and they lose Doug.
We lost Doug.
What?
We can't find Doug.
From there on, the other 3, Phil, Alan, and Stu, try to find Doug. It's a simple concept, but it is really well done. As the movie progresses, we, as well as the main cast, get told short anecdotes about things which happened the night they went drinking.
Listen to me, I'm gonna tell you something. I know some sick people in my life. This guy is the craziest, wildest bastard I ever met in my life.
Oh, this guy?
This guy is out of his mind. What's going on, you fucking crazy motherfucker?
It's important to mention that we never really get to see anything from then. However, the credits showcase a lot of pictures of the night and different events which we got to hear about throughout the movie. These ending credits serve as a sort of unexpected reward to the audience for having stuck around until the end of the movie, since they never expect that the night will be shown. Since most of these photos are also funny in context, they add to the movie so much so that it wouldn't be the same without them. Plus, since the audience will be naturally curious to see the photos, they will stick around until the end, and they might read some of the credits. This style of rewarding the audience for watching the whole movie also makes it way more memorable than it would have been otherwise. I know that when I rewatched The Hangover a couple of months ago, one of the things which I remembered most vividly were the ending credits. While I think The Hangover made some of the best use of ending credits in the medium, I couldn't make this kind of video without mentioning a piece of media which means a very big amount to me personally. Notice how I've been trying to avoid the word movie in this video? This might seem kind of strange since most of the art which experiments with its end credits tends to be movies. Why is this? Well, this is most likely because movies are short in comparison to things like TV shows or video games. Also, it's in part because movies are mainly shown in cinemas. This means that the audience will have to pick up after themselves when the movie ends, be it a jacket or a whole assortment of wrappers and popcorn buckets. The cinema setting essentially forces the audience to waste a little bit of time before they exit the cinema. This time is crucial, and if the credits are good enough, it can make the audience stay and sit through them. What does this have to do with the topic at hand? Well, it has everything to do with the topic at hand. This simple time between when the movie ends and the audience leaves is unique to movies, and it gives the staff a bigger reason as to why to include experimental credits. That's why it is very rare to see other forms of media with credits such as these. And while video games like Resident Evil 8, the Zelda games, or the Persona franchise, to name a few, tend to have credits with a good amount of visuals, they tend to always be the same thing. Either scrolling text with pictures of things which appeared in the story, or scrolling text with things that happened after the ending. Since these styles of credits are so abundant, it makes the others feel less unique as a result. For instance, I can tell you that I personally love most of the Resident Evil games as credits, however I cannot deny that they are insanely similar to other credits from other video games which I've played. With that being said, I want to talk about a game that I think did its credits in a very unique and subversive way. Nier Automata, which released all the way back in 2018, is a sequel of the original Nier. Nier made the player play through the game multiple times so that they could fully experience the story. Automata also tells its story in this format, and I feel as if it's why the credits are so special. When you finish your first playthrough and get ending A, the end credits play and they are, suffice to say, generic. Along with this, the song which plays during the end credits is the English version of the credits song titled Weight of the World. The song came off a bit strange, at least to me, since it's a Japanese game, and most of the time the end credits tend to be in Japanese in those games, you know? Once the player plays through the second time, they get the B ending. This time, Weight of the World still plays, only this time, it's in Japanese. It's important to note that this isn't the only difference, however, since a little after the credits begin, the game pans from space into the space station, where we see 2B sitting by the window. From this point, the game lets you control 2B as the credits scroll down the screen. Now, it's important to note that the game letting you control 2B here is a sign of things to come. Since the player just spent all of Route B, which is roughly 6 hours, playing through the whole story again as 9S, this is the first time the player gets this far into the story, as before, the game didn't let you control 2B. Once the player decides to man up and finish the game a third time, they get ending C. C's credits feature the Weight of the World again, but this time, it's in French.
French.
Also, the text scrolls up the screen instead of down. Getting ending C also gives you a new feature called Chapter Select. This then allows the player to select a part of the story and skip to it instead of having to play the whole game over again to get it. If you skip all the way to the end with Chapter Select, you do one more thing and you end up getting ending D. At first, ending D seems to be the exact same thing as ending C, but similar to ending B's credits, a little bit after they start, they get interrupted. Unlike ending B, however, this interruption doesn't let the player move. The credits instead get interrupted by a conversation between two characters. After this conversation, a final and very important decision is given to the player. If the player chooses yes, then they get the final ending of the game. Ending E. The credits in this ending feature the English, the Japanese, and the French vocals, all singing in bits and pieces. The once scrolling text on the screen turns into an obstacle which the player needs to shoot through in a Space Invaders-like mini-game so that they can get to the end of the credits. This was foreshadowed when the text went from going down to up to down in ending C. This is the culmination of all the build-up in the past credits, and it makes for one of the most memorable and beautiful credit sequences of all time. Even if it is just bullets coming from text, the vibrant colors contrasting on the dark, grayish background make for a very memorable sight, and it will forever go down in history as my favorite ending sequence in a video game.
Oh, to see without my eyes, the first time that you kissed me.
Call Me By Your Name is a very beloved movie that came out in 2017. The story follows the fiery and passionate romance between young Elio and Oliver. Elio and his family are half American, half Italian, and they visit Italy in the summer. While in Italy, Elio falls in love with the student of his father's, Oliver. The romance between them is very taboo for the time, since the film takes place in the 1980s. Along with that, you must factor in the age gap. Elio is 17 and Oliver is 24. While this large age gap seems creepy on paper, in theory, Elio is the age of consent in Italy, so while still weird, it is legal. Even though I watched this movie in winter, I still found it easy to feel the summer because of how the movie is directed. The director, Luca Guadagnino, I think I'm saying that right, manages to capture the feel of summer almost perfectly. He also does a good job in building the world through the characters. For instance, in the bike scene. This scene was not in the original manuscript of the film, but it was still included. And little things like this make the movie feel way more alive. The credits in this one are way quieter and less experimental than the other ones. While both The Hangover and Nier Automata made the credits feel like a reward, Call Me By Your Name does its end credits in a somber way. The credits are a still scene of Elio, crying as he longingly gazes into a fireplace after the events of the story unfolded. It's important to mention that this scene takes place in the winter, after the summer when Elio and Oliver got together. As he looks into the fire, we as the audience feel Elio's sadness and longing for the summer. He wishes to relive it, but deep down inside of himself, he knows that the summer is unreachable now, and so he cries with a smile. It stays on the scene of his crying for the entire credit sequence, and even when the production companies and such also get credited, the sound of the fire which Oliver is looking at persists It's important to also note the song which plays, that being Visions of Gideon by Sufjan Stevens. The same song plays when Elio and Oliver meet at midnight, which is a very important scene as it precedes Elio and Oliver's first intimate night. The song itself serving as another sign that Elio's reminiscing on the summer. Now, sadly, that's all the movies/games I know with such unique ending credits. Well, that's not exactly true. I could also talk about the end of Evangelion since I mentioned it at the start of the video. However, I think that I would really need to delve in deep to talk about the credit sequence and why I personally feel it is so unique. So I think I'll just save it for when I eventually make an Evangelion video. With that being said, I would like to request that you comment if you know of any other movies, TV shows, or video games which also have unique credits, as I want to experience some more myself. I also might do a part 2 if I find enough to talk about. Now, this is typically the part of the video where I would say something along the lines of, in conclusion, I feel that end credits do this and that, and etc, etc. But I feel as if I've explained myself enough to warrant not having a section like that, along with the fact that I've already repeated myself a handful of times so far. So, I guess, this is the end of the first of, hopefully, many videos to come.